Hi, so I'm Andrew Boateng, and I've been supporting Kickoff at Three for around about 3 years now. Um, so I first came in contact with Michael Wallace um, through the work that I'm doing um, with an organisation that I'm the program director for, which is called Need More Football. So Need More Football, what we are is a youth-led sort of platform. At the moment, we're creating loads of content in and around football, trying to get youngsters to understand that there are roles off the field if you don't necessarily make it on the field. So we do interviews with lots of ex-pros, agents, and everyone out in and around football. So that's what led me to getting involved in Kickoff at Three, because obviously they organise tournaments up and down the country, and they involve the youth and also tie that in with community and trying to bridge the gap between youth, community, and the police. So that's how I really got involved with Kickoff at Three. So I support them in terms of with the Need More Football, making sort of videos around the days and events that they have, so documenting what happens in the day on the tournament. Um, so that's really been sort of my main interest at the moment, and it's taken myself around to different parts of London, following the Kickoff at Three movement, which is great because they always have loads of different initiatives going on at the same time. So there's something for everyone there. You've got music, you've got food. Sometimes they have Nando's there for the kids, free Nando's, which is always a crowd puller. You get to communicate with the police and youngsters. So it's really good to see that police are actually doing some good things in the community and not just all the bad publicity that you do get on the TV, which is great. I've even seen that some of the police officers are actually managing little teams there as well to take them through the different stages of the tournament. And they'll have sort of breaks in between and have sort of some ambassadors and ex-pros to talk to the actual teams, the youth members of the teams, to give them encouragement and motivation around things, which is always great. So I'm also a football scout. So I work for Crystal Palace as a football scout. So I'm also attend the Kickoff at Three tournaments in that capacity as well. So I'm always on the lookout for young new talent, and there have been a few good players that have come through that. Kickoff at Three always have sort of their players of the tournament, etc. So that can also be a good to identify a good player, because everyone's sort of pulled out similar players for different reasons. So it's always been a fun occasion, and like I said, it does get you to liaise with a range of diverse different people from different areas, and bringing the community together, really. The way in which the work that I've been doing sort of engages the young people is that from the Need More Football perspective, we go around and we do interviews with sort of professional players, for example. And at the moment, we're creating loads of content. So the idea is that we bring young people in to actually do the interviews eventually, and also get behind the cameras and work, do little training courses so that they know how it all works behind the camera, and they can actually sort of engage that way as well and learn new skills, which will take them sort of beyond just sort of a volunteering role and into sort of employability. So that's one of the angles. Again, I work alongside another organisation which is called Community Youth London, and also in conjunction with Defenders Entertainment. So that's like a record label, but they have a hub which is sort of allowing young people to come to that hub and learn sort of music production, learn how to do be creative with sort of audio production as well, and do sort of journalism assignments. And that gives them also access to loads of the artists that come through the studio. So the studio is based in New Cross, for example, and you get loads of artists that have recorded there throughout the for about a decade or so. Everyone from Jessie J to Stormzy, etc., has all recorded there and started out there. So it's kind of like a community sort of hub, and anyone who's anyone has come through there to kind of like enhance their creative skills. So I mean that's one of the opportunities and ways that youth can engage. One of the other projects that I will be getting involved in is called Safe Zones, and that will again involve Community Youth London, and it's been a tie-up with the YMCA. So the YMCA Trinity Group have rolled out sort of projects out in Ipswich, of all places, and they've also started a rollout project in Croydon. So Safe Zones kind of incorporates everyone within the community. So you might have shopkeepers, people from local stores and football clubs, etc., that are all sort of tied into the youngsters, so young people can go and sort of have confidence and report any issues in the community to them. And if need be, then these pillars of the community can kind of escalate it to whatever authorities need be, whether it's sort of police officers, or whether it's housing, or social services, etc. So that is a Safe Zones project, and it will also sort of roll out training programs to sort of police officers, etc., and police departments, whereby they'll learn things like unconscious bias training, other sort of motivational and leadership training programs. And that could be a really good initiative to sort of tie in everyone and make sure that there's sort of safer communities. Will be sort of first aid training and things like that as well. So if anything happens along the lines of sort of violent crime, etc., then there's people that they can sort of report to, that they trust within the community, that are trained up on these things. And that also ties in nicely with sort of the kickoff at 3 stuff as well, because it is about building sort of bridges between the community, etc., and getting a bit more trust between cohesion between police officers and people in the local community. So I guess that's how we go about the community engagement and the youth and youngsters. Yes, in terms of sort of call to action and things that we'd like to see sort of happen, and again, it will be coming back to the whole community and more engagement with the community, and sort of external organisations, more of them getting involved. Obviously, the police getting involved in supporting the causes. Again, it comes a lot down to funding these things. So the question is, where do you get the funding from? So if there are any people out there that are willing to support sort of loads of community causes that will help sort of engage the youth, to get them sort of mobilized and become sort of active citizens, then that is something that is definitely to be encouraged. Again, I've been working on things around with morefootball.com, and we're always trying to sort of push the boundaries and do slightly different things. So we've been also working on things like sort of non-crime documentaries. It started off just football, and it spun off into different things now. So we've been working on a documentary called Squash the Beef, which actually tries to engage people, young people, again, to sort of turn them away from sort of all the youth violence and in turn to their skills and knowledge into something more positive. So the Squash the Beef documentary kind of follows 2 characters, and to cut a very long story short, they were sort of ex-offenders between them, done quite a few years in jail between themselves. It started up many years ago on the streets of London, where the 2 rivalries caused a lot of problems on the streets and ended up in a lot of people getting hurt, etc. They both went to jail, and another long story short, one of them was transferred in the middle of the night to a jail cell somewhere on the Isle of Sheppey, ended up in the same jail cell as his arch rival. This was not by chance, it seems, and a lot of people expected someone not to breathe in the next morning, but when the prison officers opened the doors in the morning, they were both there smiling, still intact, and they've actually decided that all the drama on the streets was not worth it. So they sat up all night talking and decided that what had been going on was was just pointless. So they called off all the drama on the streets, and a lot of things sort of improved after that. And now they're sort of best friends, and one of them is the godfather to the other one's child. And they go around provisional, pupil referral units and things like that, kind of explaining their story and trying to get people to stop what they're doing. We've tied in loads of things with, Why Stop and all these other sort of stop and search organizations to try and allow kids on the streets to know their rights and to kind of do positive things in a nutshell. So these are things that the community can really sort of support and get behind.